Hi everyone, Patrick Manifold here. I'm here in partnership with Cumberland County Municipality and Learn to Lead Cumberland to bring you a little workshop on goal setting, something that I'm very passionate about. So a little bit about me, if you don't know who I am. Like I said, my name is Patrick Manifold. I am a retired professional athlete. I played basketball all over the world. In the past 10 years, I've lived in 7 different countries on 3 continents. Scotland, England, Canada, America, Australia, Germany and Italy. So I've lived all around the world, and potentially why I'm most qualified to talk about goal setting is the fact that it's something I've been doing for a very long time. And my life changed completely once I started to use some of these techniques I learned about in books, and that I'm going to pass on to you today. So as well as being a basketball player, I'm also an author, and I've written some books which you can see behind me, one of which I'm going to talk about quite a bit today. And I'm also a speaker, and I've had the privilege of speaking to people all over the world, all different types of people all over the world. And it's probably what I'm most passionate about. Writing and speaking is what I truly love to do. So this is kind of a way of me sharing some of that knowledge that I've picked up over the years in chasing and catching my goals and my dreams. So I'm going to share some of that with you today. Now, what I'm going to be talking about most today, like I said, is goal setting, and a lot of this stuff is going to be from my book, New Year, New You. And if you hold on to the end and you watch the end of the live workshop, I'm going to be giving away a signed copy of one of these. So I'm going to tell you how to do that later on. And to everyone coming on and watching live all around Cumberland County, Nova Scotia and the world, hello, thank you for coming on, I appreciate it. So I asked you guys in advance for some questions, and quite a few. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of them during this live session, but I'll try to answer as many as I can. But the first one kind of really sets us up well, and it's from Andrew in Amherst, and he said, I often hear people talking about goal setting but never seem to do it myself. Why is it so important? Well, in my opinion, the thing about goal setting and why it's so important is it gives direction to your life. So for me personally, when I started to set goals, I always, like everybody, I always wanted to do things. But it's one thing to just be sitting on the couch thinking, yeah, I'd like to do that one day. And saying, I'm going to do that, and writing it down and telling people and putting kind of all your forces behind it. They're 2 very different things. So actually having the power to set goals sets direction for your life. I'm not a fortune teller, but if you gave me 2 people and they said, can you kind of predict what this person's future is going to look like? If one person was setting goals and they knew kind of where they wanted to go, even if it was roughly, they knew where they wanted to go, and the other person had no goals whatsoever, I would tell you that the person that didn't have goals, their future looks a lot like their present. And the person that was setting goals, even if they didn't reach all their goals, they'd become a better person along that journey, because that's what goal setting is. It's a struggle. There's no point in setting goals that are easy. It's like, I can set a goal to touch my head, but that's not exciting, right? Because we can do that. We all set goals that are difficult to achieve because that makes life more fulfilling. So thank you for your question, Andrew. And if there's anyone else that has questions during this live, I'm going to try to answer some of them while we're live. But if I don't get to everyone, I'm going to come back later and comment and reply to all of your questions and your messages. So thank you. So I want to set the foundation for goal setting, because before we even set a goal, there's some things that we need to do, okay? And in my book, New Year, New You, we have 5 steps, okay? And those 5 steps are: 1, get dissatisfied and raise your standards. Number 2, visualize your dream life. Number 3, set dream goals for yourself, which we're going to talk a lot about today. Step 4 is to create your master plan, and step 5 is to take action. So this creates the foundation for goal setting, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do an exercise. Now, unfortunately, we can't do it live with everyone doing it at the same time, but what I want you to do is listen to what I'm going to say for the next, say, 5 or so minutes. And when this live session's over, I want you to come back at a time when you get 10 or 15 minutes to yourself, when the kids aren't running around or whatever it may be, when you've got a little bit of time to yourself, and you're going to do this exercise. So it's really simple. What you're going to do is you're going to take a piece of paper, turn it sideways, line down the middle, And at the top of the left-hand side, you're going to write what my life looks like right now. And then on top of the right side, you're going to say what my dream life looks like. Okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to start to create contrast between where you are now and where you would like to be. And this is really important. Okay, so while you're doing this, I think that there's kind of 5 main areas of your life, of all of our lives. And number 1 is relationships. It's a huge part of our life. Okay, so when you're thinking about goal setting and when you're thinking about how can I create a better future for myself and my family, you have to think about relationships. It could be relationships with your spouse, it could be with your kids, your co-workers, your community. It doesn't matter. As long as it's some kind of relationship with another human being or another entity, as human beings, we need that. That's such a big part of our life and our experience of life. So think about how you can improve your relationships, whether that be at home and you want to be a better husband or wife, or you want to be a better father or mother, or whatever the case may be. Maybe you haven't spoken to someone that in your life, like a cousin or a sister or your mum or anyone, and you had a little bit of a falling out and you haven't spoken to them for a couple of years. And I've seen lots of that happen, okay, in lots of different people's lives. Maybe you want to kind of build that bridge or mend that fence, you know. So no matter what it is, whatever relationships that you have, how can you be better in each of those relationships? Another key area is career and work. Having a job and having a career are 2 very different things. I hope that all of you have a career and you know exactly where you want to go, but there's a lot of people in the world that purely have a job just for money. And maybe that job is to fund their hustle and they're trying to start a business and that's why they have a job, whatever the case may be. But that's a big part of our life. Most people spend 8 hours of their day, almost every day of their lives, working at a job or at their career. So it's a huge part of what we do. So it has to be considered when we're setting goals for our life. The next thing is passions. And if you know me or if you follow me online, you know that I have like a favorite of everything. Like I'm passionate about a ton of different things because I just can't imagine a life without passion. I can't imagine a life where I don't wake up and I'm excited about doing something. I'm excited about this project that I'm working on. I'm excited about this thing that I like to do, whether it be playing basketball or making a front gate for my daughter or whatever it may be. Having passion in life is so essential. And I guess the question that I want you to ask yourself when you're doing this exercise is, how often do I do things that I'm truly passionate about? And answer that question. And if it's every day, great, you're on the right track. You could probably do it a little bit more, but you're on the right track. If it's once a week or once a month, or even worse, never, I never do things I'm passionate about, or I don't have anything I'm passionate about, then use that as a key area of where you want to improve your life. Because what's the point? What's the point in going through? Life can be tough sometimes, right? Like I'm a positive guy, but life has its challenges, as we're all seeing right now, which is a big part of why I'm trying to share this information with you, to help you through this difficult time. But you really have to keep that in mind. Am I doing things in my life that I'm passionate about? And if you're not, you need to fix that. No one else can fix that for you. No one else can say, hey, I think you should be passionate about this. It's something that you have to find that means something to you. And once you find that, once you find passion and continue to find passion in life, you're going to have such a much better experience of life in the long run. The next is finances. People like to say that money isn't important, but I'd argue otherwise. You know, everything that we have costs money. Everything that we do costs money. Even the water we drink, everything except oxygen costs money, okay? And I'm probably sure they're going to find a way to monetize oxygen as well. But if you want to be able to have a good life, always worrying about money can take away from that. So finding a way to learn about investing or finding a way to save the money that you're earning, just having some basic financial goals is going to be really, really important to creating the life that you want to create, okay? So no matter what it is, no matter whether you want to be a billionaire or whether you just want to have enough money at the end of the month to not have to worry about debts or anything like that, set some kind of financial goal for yourself, because if you do that, your life's going to be much more relaxing, okay? Nobody likes to worry about money all of the time, right? And the 5th thing, and the most important part of our lives, those 5 key areas of our life, is health. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. You could be the richest, best looking, most successful, happiest person in the world. But if you're in hospital, or worse, you can't enjoy it. So if you don't have goals in your life set around health, then you're really missing out. Because we take our health for granted. Just imagine right now if you had a splitting headache, if you had just like you were in so much pain, you didn't want to do anything, and that's just a headache, okay? But what that does is that creates contrast between right now I don't have a headache and I've got nothing wrong with me and I feel great. But unless I'm grateful for that, and unless I work towards that by eating healthy, doing exercise, doing things for mental health, if I don't do those things on an ongoing basis, at some point I'll have a headache or I'll have a lot worse, okay? So please, when you're going through this goal setting technique, really deeply consider setting some goals around your health, whether it be you want to lose some weight, you ever want to look a bit different. For me, my goals around health have changed dramatically since I retired from basketball. When I was playing basketball, I would just work out like a crazy person. I was working out every single day. No matter what I ate, I could never gain a pound. And I put on a little bit of weight after I retired because I didn't play basketball for like 2 years. Didn't really do much exercise for 2 years because my values around it have changed. And the reason I was able to work so hard in the gym and on the court was because my goals, I had my vision ahead of me, okay? And for me in my life, my goals and my dreams act as like a North Star, where no matter what happens, I can always find my way back to my goals. So that was why I was able to work hard then. But then when I didn't have that goal in front of me, I didn't really feel the need to. Like, I liked how my body looked. I didn't really need to do crazy amounts of exercise to look a different way. But then when I thought about my daughter, who I now have almost 1.5-year-old daughter, I thought, I want to see her grow up every day. Like, I never want to miss a moment, right? So not only do I want that now, but I want that now with her and my future kids and my grandkids and hopefully great grandkids. So now my motivations become longevity. And now the reason that I eat healthy, the reason I do certain diets or things like that, or different ways of eating, the reason I lift and work out is because I want to live to be like 150 years old so I can watch all of these amazing things happen in my life. It goes back to having those passions. I'm passionate about my daughter, who I love very much. I'm passionate about all these things that I want to do in the world. And the longer I live, the more chance I'm going to have to be able to enjoy that. So for me, that's my personal motivation. For you, it may be different. You may be wanting to change your body because of how it makes you feel. No matter what it is, just please consider setting a goal around health. It doesn't have to be how you look. It can be mental health, anything. Just try and really use that when you're setting goals. Okay, so once you have those two things, you have what my life looks like now and what my dream life looks like. This is the most important thing because we're going to create contrast, okay? So when you're looking at your life now and you're looking at those main areas that I just talked about, ask yourself questions with all those main areas and think to yourself, what does my life look like right now? Where do I live? Am I happy with where I live? Am I happy in my relationships? Am I happy with my health? Am I happy with how I look? Am I happy with the things that I said I once would do but never got around to? Am I happy? That has to be your biggest question. Am I happy? And are the people around me happy? If the answer is yes, you're deliriously happy, then perfect. Okay, it doesn't mean you can't set goals because improvement is important for everyone. But if you're already there and you're happy all day, every day, then great, you're on the right track. If you're not, or you have things in your life that you want to do, whether you want to become a nurse, whether you want to become a doctor or a head chef or whatever the case may be, if you have a goal for your life or you've had something that you've always been niggling away that you kind of really want to do, if you have that and you're not going after that, you're never going to be able to find true fulfillment. And fulfillment is slightly different than happiness, but fulfillment is very important. If you don't do the things that you set out to do, you lose confidence in yourself as a person, and that's when that kind of green-eyed monster comes in. When you see someone else doing the thing that you wanted to do but never did, then all of a sudden you don't feel very good about yourself, and then you start complaining and you start moaning and you start complaining to people around you saying, oh, it's not fair, life isn't fair. Life is fair. Life is as fair as you decide it will be. And I think a lot of that comes down to mindset. But I really want you to be honest, and this is going to be uncomfortable for a lot of you. I know it was certainly uncomfortable for me. It's uncomfortable for me every time I do that, and I do this at least once, if not twice a year. But I want you to look at your life and say, and be honest. Because right now, I feel like I'm in a great position, but my life is not where I want it to be or where I know it could be. So I'm sure the same is true for the majority of you. So look at each area of your life, those 5 areas, and write down, kind of like a paragraph if you want to, or bullet points if that makes more sense for you, but write down, here's what my life looks like right now. I'm not happy with my weight, if I'm honest. I'm not happy with my relationships. I think I could be closer to this person, or I think I could do this better. I'm not happy with my career or work. I don't enjoy my job. If you're going to go and spend 8 hours a day doing something at work, please enjoy it. And if you don't, please find a way to. And if you can't find a way to do something else. Because wasting a quarter of your life or a third of your life is just a travesty. And I don't want to see anyone do it. So please think about that. Be honest about your work and career goals. And think about your finances. Think about kind of a way, am I happy? Do I have enough money? Do I need more? Do I need more of this particular thing? Anything around finances, just to be able to have a stress-free life. And then health. Am I where I want to be in life? Okay, so now you've got on this side, you've got hopefully, an honest evaluation of where your life is right now. Then, over here, I want you to dream like a silly little kid and say, you know what? If there were no limitations in the world, if I could do anything and have anything I wanted to, what would I do? That's what you write here, okay? Write it in a paragraph, write it in bullet points. Here's where I'd live. Here's how I would feel. Here's what I'd look like. Here's what people would say about me behind my back. That version of you, okay? That version of me drives me every day. Because this version is never going to be as good as this person, I'm okay with that. But this drives me, this motivates me, this inspires me to become better. I have a vision in my mind of who I want to be in like 25 years. I have a big goal ahead of me in like 20 years. And that acts as my North Star, that acts as my motivation, that acts as my inspiration to continuously, if I get off track, I do get off track, I promise. We all do. But if you do get off track, you have that vision ahead of you. And for me, I was in Italy a couple of years ago, and we went to this beautiful, beautiful museum. We saw the statue of David. And it started out as just like stone. It started out as marble, like a big chunk. But the artist was chipping away at it, and he already knew what David looked like long before it kind of appeared, and he just kept chipping away and chipping away and chipping away until finally we had this statue of David, which has lasted thousands of years and one of the most beautiful pieces of art in the world. I think it was, so I want you to do the same for you. I'm doing the same for me. Chip away at all the bits that you don't want about your life. Like, I tell the story all the time about me speaking. Okay, when I went to America, I was petrified to speak in public, like absolutely petrified. I don't know why. But I read a book while I was in college, and it was called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. So I looked at this version of myself, this confident, happy guy, and I thought he wouldn't be afraid to get up and speak in public. He wouldn't be afraid to do those things. But this version was. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to get out of my comfort zone. I'm going to try it. And the very first time I spoke, I got a standing ovation. I thought, oh my God, this is what I'm here to do. Like, this is what I'm here. I'm here to share all this knowledge and information that I have with the world. And that changed my life. But if this guy hadn't have had the courage to try and become this guy, that would have never happened. And I'd still be miserable. I'd still be unhappy. I'd still be sad and not confident, right? So let that look as a little bit of a lesson as far as that's what you need to do. Sometimes you need to get outside of your comfort zone, do something different. We as human beings, we need to make progress. If we're not making progress, then we become unhappy, we become stagnant, okay? And I don't want that for any of you. So once you've created these 2 lists and you can look at them side by side, now you can start to set a goal. Now you have a foundation because you know where you want to get to. It's really hard to set a goal in life if you don't know where you want to go. Okay, so now you have that list. Hopefully you're watching this back later on. You have that list. now you can actually start to set your goals, okay? And that's where we talk about my version of goal setting is dream goal setting, where the D stands for decide, the R stands for requirements, the E stands for effort, the A stands for action, and the M stands for master plan. So I'm going to quickly talk you through that, okay? So let's just take, like an easy goal that maybe a lot of people might have would be to lose weight. Okay, so let's just use that as an example. Let's say you want to lose 10 pounds and kind of tone up, right? So D is decide. The most important thing when you decide is that you decide it's what you want, not what your spouse wants or what your mum wants or what you think society wants you to look like or whatever the case may be. It has to be what you want. And I think this is something that most people get stuck on. They set goals around what expectations of what other people want, but you have to set goals that drive you, that inspire you, that are important to you. Because, and here's something that I have said quite a few times, the best thing that you can possibly become in this world is the very best and the greatest version of yourself. Because the greater you become, the more you have to give to the world around you, whether that be yourself, your family, your community, or the world as a whole. So some people think it's selfish to set goals and have personal development as an important part of your life, but I think it's the opposite. I think it's selfish not to develop yourself. Because if you just say, hey, you know what, I'm just going to be me and I'm not going to try and improve, I'm just going to, do whatever. That person isn't going to be able to bring as much to society as the person who's committed to being the best that they can possibly be. So please, take that out of consideration and consider yourself the most important person when it comes to setting your own goals. The R in dream goal setting stands for requirements. Before you set a goal, you have to become absolutely sure, okay? So you need to do the research. Let's say you want to become a head chef, right? And you're like, hey, I like cooking a little bit, I want to become a head chef. If you don't know what goes into that and you just set a goal, 2 months down the line when you get a job and you're working the bad shift and you're getting like no money and you're getting shouted at by an actual head chef and you're like, you know what, I can't do this, I'm going to quit. But if before you set your goal, you look into the requirements that it takes to achieve it, when we talked about losing weight, the requirements of how often you would actually have to go to the gym, what kind of things you would have to do. Once you have the understanding of what needs to be done to achieve that goal, you're going to be in a much better position to decide whether you even want to do it or not. The E stands for effort, okay? And the effort is different than requirements. It's not just the process, it's the actual time and effort and sweat and blood and tears that goes into achieving any goal. Are you willing to do that? Because if you're not, please don't set the goal. And here's why. If you set goals for yourself and you say, yeah, I promise I'm going to do it, and then you don't, and you quit, and you fail, you chip away at your own confidence to achieve goals. And once you do that enough, eventually you're not even going to want to bother setting any goals in the first place. So that's why these are kind of like prerequisites to goal setting. Because if you're not willing to make the commitment to do it, don't set it as a goal. If, on the other hand, you're confident, you're passionate, you really want to get this done, now you can move to the next step, okay? And that is to take action. And why I like taking someone much smarter than me, Tony Robbins, someone I look up to a lot, he said, never leave the sight of setting a goal without doing something towards its achievement. And I read that once in one of his books and I was like, yes, that's it. If I set a goal now, if I decide I'm going to do something, that moment I'm taking some kind of action. Because number one, it creates momentum. Okay, when we're still and we're stagnant, we tend to stay that way. When we're moving, we tend to stay that way. Okay, so once you've taken a little bit of action, you create some momentum for yourself. The second thing is, I like to take action that holds me accountable, that handcuffs me to that goal. So if I wanted to, let's say I own a digital marketing company. Let's say I called a prospective client. If I make them a promise, like around this goal, and I say, hey, I'm going to do this for you. I don't even have to promise them. To me, it's a promise. I could look at them and say, hey, I'm going to do this thing for you. For me, I'm a man of my word. I'm now handcuffed to that goal. I've done something that's going to hold me accountable to it, okay? And that's really, really important, because how you feel in the moment that you set a goal is very different than how you feel when it's 7 in the morning and you have to wake up and you're nice and warm in your bed and you don't want to get out. Believe me, I've been there many, many times. So taking some action towards achieving that goal and creating momentum is going to make it a hell of a lot easier when you don't feel as motivated, as inspired as you did the moment that you set the goal. So that's really, really important. So often we look for other people to tell us how to do things, but we all have very, unique lives. We have very unique circumstances. So when I talk about creating a master plan, what I'm talking about is looking at your life, at your individual unique circumstances, and saying, how can I do this? Do as much research as you possibly can, and I live by that. I watch YouTube videos on so many things that teach me how to do things that I'm trying to do in my life for goals and various different things. Projects, I'm always working on projects, but you have to do the research to find that out. And once you do that, you create a master plan. And in my book, I haven't got time to go through it now, but it's got like a step-by-step way of how you create that master plan. But basically, let's just go through a very quick one. You want to lose 10 pounds, say, hey, I've decided that I want to lose 10 pounds of weight because that's important to me. It's really important to me, okay? I did some research. I asked my friend Sally who did it, and she told me that I'm going to have to go to the gym 5 times a week and eat a healthy diet and blah, 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 and I'm willing to do that. Effort, I'm going to have to put in a lot of effort. It's going to be hard. She told me how difficult it is and how much she wanted to quit sometimes, but she didn't. I'm willing to put in that effort, okay? Once you're at that point, I took action. I created a gym membership. I bought some weights for my gym. I bought a treadmill, or I committed to my best friend that we're going to go jogging around the neighborhood, 3-4 times a week, okay? And then you've actually taken some action, and now you've created a master plan. So the master plan is all those pieces of information. It's like a commitment to yourself. So I'll have, if I'm doing this with a coaching client or something like that, I'll say, I want you to promise yourself that you're going to do this thing. Now that you know the requirements, you know the effort it takes, you know what is going to go into doing it, I want you to say, I, Patrick Manifold, promise myself that I'm going to lose 10 pounds in the next, and you have to set a deadline to make it important. Okay, I'm going to set a deadline for July 31st because I want to go on the beach and I want to have abs, or whatever the case may be for you, right? Set that goal and say, at the bottom, say, I do solemnly declare, I promise that I will achieve this goal. Come hell or high water, I will achieve this goal. And then I want you to print that off or write it on a piece of paper and stick it somewhere that you see it every single day. Because it's really hard to look yourself in the mirror when you've promised yourself something and then not do it. Get everyone around you to hold you accountable. Get your family, get your spouse, get your kids, get everyone to say, hey, Mum, you said that you were trying to lose 10 pounds. Don't eat 17 pieces of cheesecake today, okay? You can get your family to hold you accountable for those kind of things, more so often than we can ourselves, to make it a group effort. So that's basically it. That is my dream goal setting technique with the foundation of that exercise. So if you're watching this back, please make sure you did that exercise. It's really important to create that contrast between where you are now and where you want to be. And then please take each step of that dream goal setting technique. If you have to watch this a few times over, please go ahead and do that. If you have questions, send me a message at Patrick Manifold, where I'm at social media everywhere. So you can send me a message and I'll be happy to help you any way that I can. I just want to say thank you to Cumberland County, and thank you to Learn to Lead Cumberland for kind of partnering with me to bring you this information. I hope lots of you were able to watch it live, and I hope lots of you get to watch it after I share it on my page and people share it. Please share this if you enjoyed this video. Please share it with your friends and allow more people to do it. We are going through a very difficult time right now. This whole pandemic, it's not just here in Cumberland County, it's not here in Nova Scotia or Canada, it's around the world. And personally, I've been kind of hurt. The worst place, or the first kind of worst place hit, was Bergamo in Italy, which is actually where I lived for a year. So it also happens really bad in England, and obviously all my family are there. And it's a global pandemic. It's a scary thing, but I promise you that this will pass. This will pass. And if you are in a situation where you haven't lost a loved one to this horrible thing, you're in a great position, okay? So I want you to gain perspective. It's really, really bad in some places, and it's really bad for some people, but I want you to keep perspective and keep positive. I think that the best parts of human beings will come out of this disaster. I think that we've already seen that. Some people doing incredible, kind things, and I think that it brings out the best in humanity when we're under attack. So I think we're the closest, as a worldwide community, we're the closest we've ever been. And that inspires me, and that shows me what we're capable of. So please, keep perspective, keep positive, and please set some goals for yourself. Use this time wisely. You have time where perhaps you're not at work that you would be. I want you to use that to create a better life, not only for yourself, but for your family. Because if you set goals and you achieve them, you're going to be a happier person. You're going to be a more successful person. And that happy and more successful person that you bring home to your family, that's a nicer person to be around. So please, set some goals, believe in yourself, and be the best that you possibly can. Please check out my social profiles where I'm literally everywhere, and I'm at Patrick Manifold, and I think it might even be on the bottom here. And until next time, thank you for tuning in. Dream, believe, work hard, achieve, and please, be kind. Thank you.